Hey! 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 Thank you very much, all of you. Chairman of the Council of Elders of our great party, members of the Council of Elders, National Executive Committee members, our running mate for the 2020 election, leader of the NDC group in Parliament, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and your members of Parliament, our National Chairman, our General Secretary, fellow colleagues from sister parties, members of the NDC diaspora who have paid airfares to be here with us. I appreciate you, and delegates. I wish to warmly welcome all of you to this 10th Congress of the National Democratic Congress. Let me begin by expressing my appreciation to our sister parties for the fraternal messages that they brought. I think the messages were well thought through, and I consider them to be the keynote addresses of this Congress. Thank you very much, members of our sister parties. I start this speech with one quotation from the Bible, and that's Romans 8:31, and it says, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" And then another quote from a very famous hymn, "Begone Unbelief," and that is the end of the first stanza, which says, "With Christ in the vessel, I smile at the storm." Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all too soon, 4 years have elapsed since we last gathered to elect leaders to various national executive positions of the party. With that mandate having expired and as required by our Constitution, we have gathered here once again at the Accra Sports Stadium to elect another crop of leaders into office to manage the affairs of this party for the next 4 years. Today's election represents the final piece that will complete the party's management and administrative structure, and it comes after an elaborate and comprehensive restructuring and reorganization exercise spanning the last 2 years. In that period, we have democratically elected over 300,000 branch executives, over 7,000 constituency executives, and 300 regional executives. Exactly a week ago today, the National Youth and Women's elections were held successfully in Cape Coast, and I wish to use this opportunity to congratulate all who took part in that exercise. To those who won the elections, I say well done. And to those who could not realize their objectives of occupying national executive positions, I congratulate you nonetheless, for it takes real courage to step up to the plate and offer yourself for leadership in any organization. You live to fight another day. I note that in the period preceding those elections and its immediate aftermath, a series of regrettable exchanges ensued which threatened to detract from the larger objective of consolidating our front and preparing for the greater task of wresting the leadership of this country from this bungling and inept NPP government. I have, in conjunction with various elders of the party, moved to resolve the differences that gave rise to these exchanges, and I'm gratified to see that calm and normalcy has gradually returned to the youth front of our party. I'll reiterate the counsel I gave to those involved in these exchanges that victory or defeat in internal contests should not provide the basis for feuds, as they serve no purpose than advancing the interests of our opponents. the NDC possesses adequate organizational capacity and acumen to resolve internal disputes. Hence, it should be possible to iron out our differences of any sort emanating from any form of contest without waging a war of attrition against each other. I've observed, though to a much lower extent, similar sharp rhetoric and exchanges in some of the contestations leading up to today's election. And I want to urge an appeal for restraint and demonstration of maturity, which we have exhibited many times over, even as we go through today's important exercise. I expect that the period during and after these elections would be peaceful and cordial, and that we can immediately set about the task of preparing the party to our next power from the MPP to offer sound and proper governance for this country. This party brims with the democratic spirit, and we have withstood many intense and highly competitive elections, and we have emerged unscathed. Perhaps the most memorable of these elections, internal elections, was the 2011 presidential primaries, which was famously dubbed the Fonka Games. While speaking at that primary in Sunjani, at the time I was the Vice President of the Republic, I had chosen to tell our teaming party supporters a legendary folk tale of the three birds, Tika, Taka, and Gangale, who through cooperation and unity gained prominence and fame in their community through their harmonious rendition of melodious tunes. With their three different voices rising in unison, they wowed their audiences with their superlative performances. No sooner had they achieved fame than arrogance, pride, and envy caused them to go their separate ways. Now their combined voices, which once rose in those melodious tunes, gave way to solitary, jangling, and discordant sounds, which drew them scorn and opprobrium from the same crowd that had doted on them previously. They soon fell from their lofty perch as the most admired group in their community. The gravamen of that tale I told over a decade ago is that in unity lies strength. And this still rings eternal, and it appropriately captures the danger of allowing ourselves to be torn apart by avoidable conflict and disunity. Individual aspirations and interests must be subsumed under the larger interest of the NDC and our dear country Ghana, which is in dire need of rescue from the hopelessness and the dark abyss that we have been thrown into by this government. What is taking place today is not just an election to determine who occupies what position in the top echelons of the NDC. What we're doing here today would amount to a declaration of intent by us to lead the broad masses of Ghanaians in one big push to dislodge this government, which has been abject and dismal in the governance of this country at the next polls in 2024. This is an absolute national imperative, and we cannot fail at it. At this point, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to appreciate the hundreds of thousands of friends, supporters, and members who responded to my call to support our fundraising for this 10th National Delegates Congress. Even though our call for support came rather late, I'm happy to announce to you that through small mobile money payments of 10 Ghana cedis each, donations and deposits into our National Congress account, we received a total of 1,083,000 cedis in 12 days. This is a demonstration of the love Ghanaians generally and members of the NDC have for our party and the worthy cause we are embarked on. I also wish to express my appreciation through this medium to other donors who wish to remain anonymous, but who helped us to make up the shortfall in our budget for this Congress. We also received material donations, including bags, thousands of bags of water, rice, event logistics, and other non-monetary gifts to support the Congress. To all such donors, I stand on behalf of the party and say to you, Ayiko, thank you. I want to use this opportunity to demonstrate to all that there's a fundamental responsibility on our part, especially as executives and party supporters, to help finance the party. We cannot leave party financing on the shoulders of just a few people. To buttress this point, I wish to pay tribute and salute our chairman of Trifu Ati Mokwa constituency in the Central Region, Mr. Hakim Adai, who I noticed while going through the list of people who donated to this Congress. Mr. Hakim Adai, chairman of Atimokwa Central Region, made a cash donation of 10,000 Ghana cedis through his local GCB branch to our Congress account. Mr. Hakim Adai, I salute you. Thank you very much. And I wish to personally meet you, to shake hands with you after this opening ceremony. So look out for me. Ladies and gentlemen, the good people of Ghana have suffered 6 years of appalling misrule, corruption, waste, arrogance, nepotism, and abuse of office, human rights violations, and economic mismanagement never before seen in our history. Pain and anguish have swept through the land and left in their wake a people buffeted on all fronts who need all the inspiration and hope we can muster. 6 years of reckless and irresponsible mismanagement of the economy has rendered our people broken and struggling to survive from one day to the next. The Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government have supervised the worst economic conditions in several decades and brought upon us hardship that an entire generation of our population has never witnessed before in all our existence. The life savings of Ghanaians, their business capital, their pensions, and the very survival of our commercial banks and insurance companies are threatened by the first debt restructuring ever undertaken by our country. And this is because of the reckless borrowing of the finance minister and the economic management team led by His Excellency the Vice President. 0% in 2023, a measly 5% and 10% interest will be paid in 2024 and 2025 respectively, with minimal installments of principals due for payment to be made over a 5 to 15-year period. Meanwhile, several individuals and pensioners cannot guarantee that they will be alive by 2037 to see the final 41% maturity of their principal. Our dear country Ghana, that has been a poster boy of democracy, good governance, and economic progress, stands on the brink of bankruptcy and economic ruin. Yet, we have a president who enjoys spouting the rhetoric of self-respect and restraint from begging Western nations for support. And yet he has spent the last several weeks on the telephone with Western leaders, asking them to beg the IMF to grant Ghana the recently announced staff-level agreement for an extended credit facility. Our dear nation has never been so put to shame and come close to being a beggar nation as we are today. And yet, this is the same person who only yesterday said, Ghana enye ohiamai, yet isikaso ekom diye. This NPP government has done the worst to erode the belief of Ghanaians in our democracy. Many Ghanaians see their situation as hopeless and are willing to take the hazards of dying in the Mediterranean Sea or electrocution on a high-tension transmission line in Kaswa. But countrymen and women, let us not despair. They say the darkest hour is before the dawn. And they also say, in every adversity, we find opportunity. And Bob Marley also says, when one door is closed, another is open. Ghana shall rise to a new dawn. Part of the process of turning the fortunes of our dear nation around are what is taking place today at this Congress. Ghanaians are looking up to us not to become the next government by default as a result of the failure of this administration. Ghanaians are looking up to us to be the choice because we're a better alternative. We must not win by default of the lapses of this administration, but we must win because we are the better alternative to govern this country. And I've heard many people say that when we win power, we must do exactly as the MPP are doing. But I dare say, there's no use fighting for political power if we're going to commit the same mistakes and abuses the MPP has inflicted on Ghanaians. The NDC must be the government of infrastructure. The NDC must be the government that protects human rights. The NDC must be the government of economic prosperity and growth. The NDC must be the government of modesty and humility. The NDC must be the government that fights corruption and dissipation of public funds. The NDC must be the government of prudence and accountability. Our work is therefore cut out for us in the days, weeks, and months immediately following this National Congress. And therefore, we can ill afford to spend any time on unhelpful internal bickering. Let us get off our marks immediately and convince Ghanaians that in addition to our superior record in governing to that of the MPP, that we are ready to be the alternative government come 2025. The first step towards doing that is by proving that we can manage our own internal affairs and hold ourselves to an acceptable standard of behavior. And that is why I wish to reiterate my call on all of us here to be mindful of our actions and play our roles at this Congress peacefully so that we may leave here a more united and stronger force capable of leading the efforts to save Ghana from certain collapse under this MPP administration. I wish also at this juncture to repeat my position of neutrality in the various contests. Let me say again that I do not have any preferred candidate for any position. And I urge all delegates to vote based on your own appreciation of the messages of aspirants and their conviction about their capacity to work in the larger interest of the party. I stand ready to work with all those you elect to lead our great party and to contribute my quota to our objectives, which primarily revolve around saving this country and building the Ghana we want. We've gone through and passed this test many times, and I trust that we'll pass it again with flying colors this time too. Let me finally wish all aspirants the very best of luck as you go into this contest. All of you are winners in your own rights, and the courage you have demonstrated by offering yourselves in service to NDC and by extension Ghana is worth commending. As with the very nature of contest, there will be winners and there will be those who are unsuccessful in their attempt. I urge the winners to be gracious and conciliatory, and I also encourage those who do not make it to take it in their stride and remember that there's more than enough room for everyone to contribute towards the success of the NDC. Whether or not you hold elected office in the NDC, there will always be a role for you to play in the scheme of things. And finally, before I take my seat, I wish to thank the Electoral Commission for coming to supervise this election in this Congress. I wish to thank the Ghana Police Service for providing security for this Congress. And I wish to thank the media who are giving us live coverage for all that you're doing for us. May God bless you, and I wish everyone a successful Congress. Thank you very much. But now, before we finish this session, when we go on break, we're coming back for the elections. But before we go, I wish to mention the names of some of our fallen comrades, after which we shall observe a 1-minute silence for them. And the first on the list is His Excellency J. John Rawlings, the founding father of the NDC. The late John Evans Atamils, former President of the Republic of Ghana. His Excellency Kwesi Emisa Atta, my Vice President. Captain Kojo Chikata, Justice D.F. Annan, Mr. P.V. Obeng, Mr. Nathan Kwao, Professor Kofi Awono, our former Chairman Dr. Kwabena J, our former Chairman A.A. Munufie and Alhaji Isifu Ali, Mr. J.H. Owusu Champong, former Majority Leader, Mr. Farouk Brahma, Alhaji Kojo Mama Adams, Mr. Fred Ohenekina, Ambassador D.S. Boateng, Dr. Mary Grant, Dr. Atukwashi, Victor Salome, Dr. Kaiko, Albert Bosumche Sam, Ama Benyiwado, Difa Ativo, Samuel Nyama Donko, Jijote, Hajia Jibodi, Lionel Mobila, Oscar Meyedowo, Harry Sawyer, Charlie P, Alhaji Mobila, former Northern Regional Chairman. And only yesterday, I hear we lost A.U. Farouk of Tamale, a very outspoken supporter of the NDC. And of course, we also remember the 8 compatriots of us, Ghanaians, who were murdered in cold blood during the last elections of the year 2020. May God grant all of them, and the many others that I have forgotten to mention, may God grant them peaceful repose. And at this juncture, I ask all of you to rise wherever you are. Rise wherever you are. It also includes Professor Kwesi Botwe.
Thank you. Live as it happens. KOFI TV. KOFI TV. KOFI TV.
All right, I'm for you so coverage, you know. Kopem say you better abano ewie no ye nae. Kopem say you be declare results no ye nae. Ye ni eda so edi achi. But numbers no edoso chain. What I saw about NPP for etro aba ewo hano. I don't know if I am right. And I say ebia hano ye allow supporters ni bi mo ba kan ho entina mami hu ni sana. Okay.
The Omo Electoral College, you know, since 2014 more, Omo expanded Omo Electoral College, you know, and into Omo the other doors to say MPP for the end.
Okay. And nipa do aye hono, Omo nyina ye nipa Omo Bakotwaba.
Yeah, Omo nyina ye nipa Omo Bakotwaba because Omo ye expansion of the Electoral College.
Okay.
Say nipa e betwaba executive, no. First, Nanka Omo not say, but due to the expansion of the Electoral College, no, and Omo doors to sano.
advantage is a woman because Jessiano, Minia Chencheni Baha.
Advantage is a woman say, Emma and Nipadona, Omu leaders. Enna, two, Ebia almost feel say, Emma active road buying so because so called presidential andOkradia, when I had 9,000, the presidential and Nipada 200,000 crown a better. The presidential andOkradia does see where are more to CCA.
So you mean we don't mean in the system man in your own?
Son of more patch but Bibini.
Live as it happens. KOFI TV.
Son of more patch but Bibini.
Yes, I am a can.
Like I said, Bibini. You're not best. My mimi saw again, son of my mini so. My who say Hannah Bisu Ennam Nipanum move from region to region. Oh yeah, 1 2 1 2 oh. At the same time, assign ehunu nipa bi a womu kura general picture a womu de nemu a womu share for votes. Na womu na musa. Can this really change somebody's mind at this time?
Oh yes, sir. Na nyawa na dream so beto but still you nipa bi o ebetimi asese o madwin and na make say politics is full of machinations and strategies. Enti ebetimi ewuvu nkofo bi side enti yehwe ne ebekwa kosi.
All right. Merci about so afredodu
no mudini
afredodu political science student or science historian and or science
political enthusiast.
Correct. And you know kwame nka adwuma in fact all the way from multimedia no dwane ko sheku masika kra no asan aba nkran XYZ kwame boko there
west 81 east lower west
medium
nyame adoro mame hoye na baba fasaba odi tudwe political enthusiast and a political historian and a tia and one analysis.
Yes.
I mean, there be analysis. Yes, I mean,
what follow elections at Japan. And looking at the numbers, the prediction. Oh yeah, you be better time, Ben.
Assembly political enthusiast historian.
Yes.
I can say me about the expansion of the electoral college, no.
Yeah.
And boa, and acquire the best set up by say be a wee percent what this sika FM na what this see a kwan say delegates ebetuma to abama obia esefatana when you na na che nienti ayabedu ha because the last time I call NDC for women's and youth organizer a conference na work Cape Coast no
yeah
sa twenche ne bai NDC adum pempen so amafo bebre hu say e ho abehia say as a political party no also between two abama mpanimfo a okun no mukọ anim 2024 no omu a edo makoma so pa so mbeyi o makoma no mako okun ni ye kopem say edo mbekọ awiye pa edi baba bebre ya wuhu it is a foretaste of nia ebeba in the future. See me mani nyon say in subsequent delegates congress no won be biema to the sense of polling station bia no to say the omoya for presidential and I say flag bearership race no polling station bia be dey ebeto aba na no be bre sa sika ye de she abatuo ni mu no ase na NDC woni ayetete no maria taaso se sa ekwan no e no mefa etidi baba bebre dey ni ye mu ani
but you do say sana ya dwen ye but onu hu say so nema 1 2 1 2 be ekoso these numbers na utimi MOBia even 10 cities square yes ka ketwa but adia ba kwa efe wo mne say with all these numbers no social voting strategy na o ma system to the sense of polling centers no o ma double no sorry I said ya o metima to intentem so uti organizers of event ya o ma ka say o mo person mo ya na yetimi wie bibia intentem etibe ma ne nyon say enu midnight and I say 1 a.m. Kwesi ada ahomase 1 enu ode na bia abatuo no ya to adum pempen so a ye bekan na back to issue now raise say edi baba bebrebe we na wu kotia and you say wara e ba still ebi tia so all issue now raise e che
Jones. No, Dodu. Issue now raising Dodu no. Say, look, it will be here. Say, look, our fan again that. Ofri fie ba. Baby a wo beto akon wonim eseni trim. Wo de ani delegate say na wo se eni nam. Na ye ni bi kasa. Oma sem nyina so obu trim. Obetimi abegina wanim. Mi will be wo Cape Coast. Obetimi agina wanim no aka jo say Jack be kwa akoto ama but what 2 year ya from oko. Wo mu 2 year. Wo de hwe wo hu say numbers no e be diminish. E diminish because obeso obegina ho. Na obi a sabe wawa kakra wa ebe baba attack no
interesting say obi pese osom yen na just otua ho kansa na watumi asom like you pay to save you what you pay to save but then I make a choice say so when NDC mpanyinfo no dodo na akasa eye tebia omususu say was as a political party obutimi free omususu omo opponents be dey inform but omo no gradually no omo person omo free sa tebia no make I say last weekend ye na sampi ya le kasa wo Power FM na eye XYZ asa o kan ya no say ono kra de e no wan say conference kuma bi sa no o wa hu so omo display posters akese ne billboards akese for a political party or opposition sadi and semfata so it gives you an idea say empanifo ni bi wo party ni mu a o madwene say e was a party no etimi drum pempen so a sat bia no mu free so don't be surprised say I keep on going back to that point say a bedroom pempen so bi no electoral college no ye be o mu be bam any so betimi nya sika we wi asu nyina adua mo bia wo police center and here Sawaris key to we no unchusu baako sure but mame obia strength okay chairman of Osuampofo okay chairman general yes chairman general mosquito and chairman of Osuampofo okay so far based on enkoma MENS training the amount for akana mejina so the akasa based on enkoma ya twitwi so far dodo na say chairman of Osuampofo the strength the ability to keep a cool head wabra hey eba etibemu kaka say so no sense o fa na kwa na obedi na watedi no say wutie de e dey akwa adwin meje adwin wo ho as you say positive and I say negative yeah watedi the akwa adwin mo ebisa say e kwan be so e na metima yi me ho afri sa tebia nim based on analogy a what dey ma and then for general asedun ketia be on strength no for general asedun ketia and yes wudi ja esia na se ja no emienu a obaba ho be mo de eboro de wo ho eja ne hye wa abeba and for ono operating itself with sa eye akukoduro no and asema e tie down no nano amene ne kasa wo medwumadi a friend dwabo ase morning show no o ka say 2024 about one eba no wona NDC for hu ye e 2020 no omu hia okandini sa a obetimi dia ginetia sa no mani bia eda ne ho edi 2020 a omususu say in 2024 ebetimi asada ne ho edi eti eba strength a dodo na say akukoduro udi jani siami a eja no mebo ho empre dodo that's for Johnson Asedun Ketia afeyamra weakness no obia dan the okay in the campaign okay I will not be too specific but in some baby ni atie na no general Asedun Ketia ya si tape bia liki ono kra mene ne ka so say tape bia na liki mene go for na e ka so say tape bia liki ye e se no ko wo titu but no se wutie ne ka sa na ebi mususu se ase na no sonye no wan so tokuro no oma ensuo no ba yo ene begu abonten eye sa no ama party ne da adeja okay and people see that as a weakness ono so hu no say a strength because ono okano kra no se bia esitie biara
And then with a year C4C, meeting from has a rough. And the man of block. My family air condition. Ever C4C in Oswa. I'm on for say. I also was gone. A critical example. I was a part in a man of homeless war. Now what's that say? On also, oh, to Shirley Bino, Sabrano, no Atiada. And party no corner anymore. Omunya a yet can be Nibisa. And on a man for Kanyame Massama Maker. Party no corner anymore. Omunya a radical leader. Sano Mobia and any switch. Omunya and any switch. But for a year, your friends of example for a company, Omu Philly rather, that strategy the mom and a Bebua party no because so be the Ojeba now so the Oja is Yana and your person Oja. So that is what they are voting for. Okay. These are the two candidates. We have forerunners. A year delegates, no. Two almost waba. They may say I did you more. Wama Obia Owabutre na Oshina Soba Kumo better than about 1 month. That's right. And I know Twama dear or Shiba Kumwa. About what from what it's one more example banda yeah mekai eno okoshia wo ma wo eleye impono wo asia wono ebra na jumadi emekoso no na general person owura ba bia delegates no ewo na post for no so mo ma na ma ene ebehwe wo ne hwan ena general yi ne phone so wo twa post fo a wo musi no ho kwan so mo ma ne nwura ba bia delegates no ewo will be priding itself with those things. Political enthusiasts. Yeah. With this strength, any weakness, which one do you think? But I mean, clearly, okay. Of course, of when you sound. Okay. Of course, when you send your own say, or you stop sound. Okay. When you stop, but of course, no, intelligent way be or the Camoniama down, but over top of on your shops out. Those time I know Tiano, Peace FM on Thursdays, on it Kennedy Kwame, a compare or in Japan. Then is a crowd. Then is a crowd, because I'm maybe crowd in 2008, Electoral Commission Office, on an annoying to they nearly exchange blows. It's over top of on your shops out, but and I work on Nina no any positive and only negative. Well, but I think that Ube to me bury me in album now one send ya Ube managino. But yeah, there Omumi and a contesting tea. Bakoba call Ama Bakwat Nasi. All you see. And here Kwame call Ama Mukwaba. Aye. Yeah, I'm about there. Peja, we no cost of Katlana. You're about now, or no, what patch, you know. I'm not. I say, not Ben, I can mammy. Chop everywhere, so they have been Emuye. All right, my main shot, Papa, delegate. Okay, we observe. Make a campaign team, General, as you look at. Okay, yes, okay. And when I'm watching the kind of family minimum. I just saying, oh, now, sir, why wouldn't you cast more chef for you at your why fire no sort of way? Debut, on Sana, we are the other foul minimum, as you show Bitino. And what does it mean? Good chat, waiting. What are your background? You're very well. Because we don't know the metro. And can we back and say, a young brand? Yeah. I drove a for Semba, and I come afraid. That's a big mistake, be or Mamuha. And probably no, ye jai a mamore de ma politicians. Sit you delegate for no. No ma credit John Beji. A very asiano, no ma koi a biamo keke. For the dear who know, Ghana Hano, Yanina enemy say, political parties in the former government. Because Yanti said independent candidates be a winning president under Fourth Republic. Because what to be independent? What tribe at M5? Not even the Fourth Republic, the whole M5 1957. What are about for the American Tiasia? Copina de Tiania, ye giant politicians in the Momuko, your Muria. Not sir, Omuko for make government. Now, none say party name you good leaders in Intino, and who's and so about minus. Even and they are winning them. Now the entire movie, a near Bria, Yadi and I see from A2 delegates in the say. Omonto abanema eye chairman general asi edun ketiane say we din komo bi okro we mu mezo sankofo na mpa o masem was one menye hufuo me abema menye hufuo menya kromfo mezo menya kromfo me ye no kwekafuo kofi obi a oni me akasa o mamu abia ni me say me ye no kwekafuo eti sani pai sa uzu say the president I'm for make government, not the president in the yard, dear name, yeah, because you're not any maka. I'm on my moon in Waterno. Now, no, Dean Comobi was say, maybe I say, don't get here, come let me out for Tenefi. No, my Jim, I want me out for dog. To me, bar, mobile mammy, to me, maybe, Naka, Meso, Madidi home. Nanso me kwa. Ebi mu bebo party ni don komi. So it is answer me. Kobi obo bi. Elder sorry ya na tikokum. Mo obi ya bi na elder sorry ya na tikokum. Na o ka so bi ebi mu bebo party ni don komi. Ni enim se ebi mu we na oni wo mo e contest. Na o kire se oni wo mo an contest na wan wen ni o bebo don komi. Don komi. Na ya se o mo na wo pese wo. Don komi bebam kobi o ka ye no wa mo obi ya di o. The one more party don't come in. What is what they hear no? That's the selection. They are born when your friend the best one. Which have been near and to go to. As I'm way away. And it's the one who share a dedication away at Numray. Sabi Mawajim now. My aunt to a move to have okay, Kumase. I want to Kofi. Dr. Congress-Kofi. Yade for ko wo o se me no me bia. E no wa wu ko o bra o mo bre. Ebi na obu ye ni nei. NDC party na ye wo ho no Kofi. Say ya bosumu a. Wo betima akofa bo ana dua bi ana se bottle we dia si wo se obosumu a wo sum no no. Suma na e betena mu na ma ne ye aduma me bo a. NDC ni ye bosumu a suma ni ye si edun ketia. Eto pamundi agro. No mu ni say bibia keke na sa bosom no suma bia nimu a kira bosom ba bebubu no na o sire wate say kankan nya me kira bosom akwa so okobubu no dabi antoanya ma wahu no wada dabi akrokoto mbache wahu no wada apape wahu no wada dabi ndi dia suma bia nimu no nenam ho dia suma bia nimu no nenam ho. If you describe as you don't get ya so na ye NDC suma ya, does it mean with that as you don't get ya NDC like NDC train survive what they war for now fans actually be I see a dun ketia gina eye banda any a soldier for a creatuo now was say any mbekum ye nyina until say again any babia embrama no kwan say o train di be train di no na elder enam eye awoyoso for wajin paibo na ni from wa hu Kofi we ana wa hu enya de tie no manhum paya o number bi general den de me hu na the elder de na de me elder ne nam oyo agin bible wa hu de bi me hu no wa hu de bi hu nso o da hu Kofi force ne hu na sa na tie Kofi yes minyo yo kasa me tene kasa ya na me ra ho pa Oni say oye disappointed MPP supporter. What in kind now ya? Yeah, say nipa be say ntina. Now our party o. Yeah, nipa be say ntina how can you rallies no? Legal no. Yeah, but nipa be say we raise issue wa. Say me church ni mo go me ma dream da ho. Ti ha yie. Eti o. Ya wo me anto political party bi anto maso. No, but the enemy was said the way I was campaigning. Yes. Drivers, campaigning on the ticket of MPP. Yes, and only a mudra ya bema yellow. Ubusana na be say why ni ya bema o beka se minimum. Ubusa Kwabena Japan adenimo alanche mantin ti Samia Oku o wonche ha ya oboboloto. Feno nebusano sa media oso he no wa oboboloto. O na nya ho no kreso anya ona ho. Nya na bobo. Ona kreso ana wo na ɔhwɛ hɔ
Baby.
Enti ɔno ɔhwɛ hɔ no ɛnyɛ adwuma a wɔyɛ no ana yɛ
sɛ Samia oku bobɔ loto
wɔn na bobɔ loto wɔ ɔman mu ha nyɛ mi ni Samia oku na bobɔ ana wo adwuma a wɔyɛ no
o TV so
Kofi adwuma a wɔyɛ no
ɔbɔ mo TV so ana
Same me frɛ a wo mfa nansɛn na da menya too sure no wo bɛtɔn wo dan na wotimi no wontimi ntua Same bro nya ba me chia wo enti na nka nipa akuku damu yi obi bɛka sɛ nka mɛka ma no atum Kofi nka me nidi
obedidi
enso no sɛbio wobɔ apo na wosi dan kɛseɛ sɛ sɛe ɛnkyɛnse baako paa se na wobɛda na adeɛ a ekum Ghana for titiriw MPP for ne sɛ woni ne nyinaa bɛwura school dan mu apie na wokɔ hyɛ atare foforɔ pɛ na ɔmo adwene yɛ ɔwo sɛ sɛbi wode onim nyansa ɛno na ekum MPP no tu de ɔmo ntena hɔ na ɔmo nyare saa we have the man no ɔn sɛ nnɛ akwadaa korɔ mu ni bi ɔmo wɔ bi a ɔmo nya reshuffle asa ɔn sɛ wontumi nka saa asɛm ne mɛka we have the man near the Daranum yɛni say
ɛne na ma wo dwane firi
ɛnu ti na yɛmu bi yɛhu sɛ obi wɔ Ghana ha na ɔse mmemme nyɛ krɔmfo a ɛsɛ nyina yɛdi n'akyi because woka sɛ PDS nsɛm a yɛkɔ so yi ɛsɛ ɛdu nkɛseɛ bɛtena hɔ ama yɛbu agu ne party so wode woabusa ho Ghana Ghana politics wonyi nipa edu a wɔn nim politics wɔn nyansa ɛsɛ ɛdu nkɛseɛ ka ho wonyi enum ɔka ho wonyi mmiɛnsa ɔka ho wɔsɛ mɛboa a wode wɔbɔ mmiɛnsa a wɔnim din a sɛ ɛdu nkɛseɛ nka ho bɔ ɔmo din ne yɛhwɛ
dodo ɛna kɔ
ɛnyɛ ɔka no ebi wɔ amene ne adwe ebi wɔ so amene ne nyaadwe
kyɛ sɛ wɔne me bisa
for
yes
na na do deɛ mene wɔ adwe ba ba bia mene wɔ nya adwe ne sɛ wo se ɛsɛ edu nketea sɛ bia bibi kɔ so wɔ sɛ yɛto abama no na ne party ba power na nyama bi kɔ so wɔ betimi aka but we have seen MDC in power ɛsɛ edu nketea defending the indefensible
me ba cha wonni krowe mu former president Jerry John Lawrence so any packet to krowe mu
because at that time no ni NDC is not good terms
man one blow who ha hu ye
Satan no president Satan no former president Satan no former president
wonni modern bar general Sedu Nketia abo Ghana abakosem enye ya be ma na be di ho adanse Ghana fo nyina nim no kwa ne yanka ke oba mem papa krom Kwabri East Kofi unim sɛ ɛda hɔ sɛ wode apɔnkye kora hyɛ no atare MPP di mu obɛwu ne sɛ ɔyɛ awɛ kɔne kɔhwɛ wɔ sɛnea hɔ akwan te kɔhwɛ sɛnea hɔ akwan te ɛnso no sɛnka yɛn nyinaa yɛtenetene sɛ Kofi adoma ne ɛde ne gyina a ɔbɛhwɛ mpanyimfoɔ anim akɔgye mpuntuo de abrɛ yɛn a ɛnka hɔ te saa deɛ bi te Ghanafoɔ no no enti yɛdeɛ ɛnɛ yɛabɛma ɛnora na meyɛ MPP ni ɛnɛ me hyɛ sɛ edu nketea NDC atare wɔnoa na de atare wɔ hyɛ me ɛkyena metuma abɛhyɛ Kofi TV atare ne nyinaa gyina no kore a me nsusu sɛ ɔbɛboa ma ɔman no kyekyereyɛ akɔ so Kofi ma menka asɛm bi ɔmo hwɛ wɔ aburokyire me ni passport o saa kuro no kora yɛ se yɛntɔn ka dɔkono wɔ kwan ho twɔba ni hɔ Kofi krɔfo na me ko pede yi ye fa tira ya wo se kakra ye betima tete to bi me wa na de avi fufuo akrante ti de ne se ahye ya nya no kra ponche kotode da sasabra hye mma ne ye bedi enti create say no na say leaders na wo na mo ma adanti de enyi pe good leaders woni ya na Obama e be gina aka say Ghana ye hia Kofi aka brofo ne say
I see history
ne ye nyina ya te enwa gu mu
Dodo
yeah tell
could it be say woman who say grounds in yenti no matiagum and as a margin asema o kan sanity
me rini na e betumi aba say margin no mo pe betumi so aba say grounds nye nti no mo yes ano nti it can be both
but o shy there here
me dey mean because me call grounds will
Kofi even Eastern region me refrachim bomb so
okay
Eastern region na here over some of Chrome no. So enyo ne we na obawe e na be ye na ningwa se so ono ade kromfo aye ne suru ye se ya enka ye kwale electoral commission for ne planning committee for the say ka de omo to omo obi antwa no for some of radio nya woni kurum no radio nya woni kurum
to pa che say obawe wo Eastern region
me see ni onu akasa ni background no obawu ade e beto no but yeah pon ya kwa to form Ghana ha woni say konkwansa bia akoso a adava for etibi amu fi free other regions ni ba na nya ka no mo de ba me nya driver pan ni o man mu
me ni o mo drivers akasa drivers e di o mo ba ye me ni o ma akasa e wo Legon na me ni delegates ni bi nso akasa na me adanse no e kire say northern region e call for general but o kwa ahafo a moda form
enya no kre
ahafo
nya botre ahafo the obemo ube win sisi ase ya be ma no ni wo che coronavirus no me ya wo me wo ahafo ekura ye fe wo adroba kurofum so on him spouse Obama the kro ma adroba ho ne ye wo me maame efri akomada ho ye Tano North me papa efri Kwabri East anything Tano North for me no ka say youth organizer of free Tano North for free me krom adroba women organizer Oshe make my gaza Oshe yen chance si aye kasai eno pa ho a ana bisi wa wo se wate ati agro no mo unim so free Tano South
attachment here
enti there na general that from ho no 6 constituency
because no matter say Collins Delta former regional minister o mo aye ward wo ho they call the delegates
omo ward me call ahafo abra no mo yo mo regional election no so onim say general say edu nketi ane baba ko na contest regional organizer chance say edu
okay
dia wo kasa course ni nyina course so e ko wi ase no na omo candidate no onyama akoma 24 chance say edu de say na etie nie ana omo akoti take card no mo ho anything ya obetimi aforce ponko say wo de na ekonsu ano kofi onnom ne de untimi enforce no anything yenim na mmom no yenim de ebesi wa hafo anything na make say so omo ma ni twa obi atwa ne de anko mbe hu omo level party no ati edun Christian hwe enkotena fie mo omo mo do nkomi ebesa sisu dua
no but if you say so obo ne do nkomi a
no omo form campaign tim na wo komua obi si onya sika oni resources o de kwa ye adwuma fagbere kwa no okura ne bag minka so wo sika ene onya sika we hin the question is onya sika no we ene so obusa oba so wo do aso tietie from what dey ekoso ana me boa onya sika no ntinya don komi ni bi ni wo ton
but this a party nimpen for na bi nso ta na chinti sika na obisa so onya na wo hin no de the ways and means it could also be one of the yes
mumu sa say empanyimfo to nsa frɛ aspirant ni na okoya na because nka asɛm a wobisa nko mbisa banko adoma da so keden kofi hɛ MP for no mo NDC no mo 137 right bet me aka kyerɛ wo sɛ endro na honorable Ahmed Banda MP di nkomo bi sɛ elder wo mu be 9 kofi I can assure you say omo donate ma elder no MP for no emu miensa no omu di so chairman general ho do mo di ma donate ma elder no na we ni kwa so chen no who say chairman general create mombo account bi enti enim ni nyina o ma kwa bet ma bo boni nyina omo kwa yam da si omo
donate ye no
kofi ya fa no nto anything ya dey asema ye kan say Ghana fuei this is a time wa omo mu ni nyina mo nsori mo ma ye nya mo omo nko a kofi ene ya ti eye lole fe so nya me ya adom ajuada ebenya nsunsanso wa ha kayawo aban papa on betene tena aban no enne ne yehu ne no etu de yɛn tɔ ne nya ho yɛn mpena ba bɛtete yɛ kyɛ.
Live as it happens. KOFI TV.
There you reduction no say there when you home as a driver.
Oh, yɛn nyinaa ne ɛkɔ apam sɛ yɛnya ho biribi kakra na mpanyinfoɔ so ne abrɛnsɛm didi a mo atere nyɛ tenten anything you to say that mo
Sir,
yes
it is when I'm watching it.
Yes,
A strategy.
yes,
Dame.
yes. One is as abrɛnsɛm didi a mo atere nyɛ tenten wobɛyɛ yɛ dance ni KOFI TV ɛyɛ yɛ dance ni sɛ yɛato fuwɛ so ama yɛato ahyɛntiaboɔ mu ɛna yɛate ɛyɛ fuwɛ no so ama Ghanafoɔ ɛna de pressure ti ayi o ni yɛde ɛnwe ho ɛde ban ɛna yɛtie Ghanafoɔ ne yɛ reduce enti so ɔkyena yɛto mu a mamo ntwɛn sɛ adrabanfoɔ ɛnyusu statement na ga KOFI TV afrɛ yɛ abɛma sɛ yɛhu sɛ fuwɛ no kɔ soro eni ti adrabanfoɔ mo yɛ dɛn na nkɛnyɛ ɛfɛ wei na yɛ no sɛ mo nyinaa mo de ahyɛ yɛn sɛ yɛn ne yɛama ɔman no mu ayɛ den
Na say yetum amaka. Yɛto so de amon pese mo beto
ba
so.
nsuo yɛ si yɛn nim yi yɛnya advert mu obi a o na mmom nsuo yi sɛ nsuo yi ne wura me na nwene da sɛ efiri ɛyɛ factory hɔ a ɔde gu trɔtrɔ mu anaa taxi mu wohu sɛ kia truck ne nam kurom ɛno sɛ fa trɔtrɔ ho bɛyi adɛn ne yɛtee diesel no so a yɛgu so tɔ nsuo sɛ ne yɛtɔ no
Genti nsuo nso bo so.
na ɛda hɔ a yɛ dɛn adrabafoɔ ate so nsuo no yɛda tɔn deɛ yɛtɔ no yɛtɔ yɛ dɛn yɛsrɛ agric minister sɛ yɛate lɔɔre fɛ so enti borɔdeɛ na ɔkɔfa bɛgu ministries no ɔnsan fa bi nkokɔ mmeammea na ɔntete so sɛna ahotɔ no ana ɛba no yɛsrɛ dan wurafoɔ sɛ yɛate lɔɔre fɛ so KOFI yɛnsan tete dan boɔ so ɛni ti ne yɛsɛ wo ne sasaborosɛm didi a moatere nyɛ tenten
Jasante so na mwate no. Mo so mo ba the campaign say niema hodo aka nyina so yentete so.
Ba jo see e kan nipa 30.8 million no. Adrabafoɔ ne yɛ kan yɛ yie free.
Baby.
Enti yɛso yɛ timamufoɔ de yɛso ha yɛ no ɛne yɛbɛka wasɛm because yɛyɛ nti ahyɛnti aboɔ so ɛma wo nkɔfa brɔdeɛ ɛmfiri ɛyɛ agogo onkɔfa intosi mfiri akomada mfa nsika mmea nye wɔ aboɔfo na mmemmere dɔkɛsɛ fia sɛ wakɔtɔ a yɛatɔn na aboɔden de ama yɛ ade ɔma no yɛagye ne wɔ campaign deɛ ɛte kama mo anaa mopamu galamseyfoɔ no yɛyɛ bɔtɔ na mo sɛ mbɛtu galamsey because operation Vanguard bi ani akyiri mane bɛ ne ayɛ ebia na mo yɛ because mochi ya yedi no professor nso so engineer nso so komo ya bemba komo Charles danso komo David Labuado komo Niankra enti mochi ase mutu e bottom galamsey a madani e kremoti etia ya pega nyumo masalachi obi a so ade se dogo mane ba ni aye ana mani breye
O there be any mrem.
because
the mamo de na ya na ehia yen kese ne se mumutumu a e affect bibia.
And you see your test with reflected bibia.
You have a point.
And I any point.
Oh, a point.
And think I what bet ya wo boy say. Not what is so. And I know so
no.
because yet titi ensuo buo so tomatoes buo so a won so akwa wo mabono e be bata
I was never ya ba ma se free Monday kono mema na ntwe makọ homa so
bebe
akọ na wo bọ no te so
akọ homa no te so because intosi no ye sure say be free e card a e ba gbogbo se ya te so nti adenti no oba owo hwa san ji the same akọ homa but ma me efe e classic ko ya ye boy ya ne mu nyina na ebo mo kwa mutimi ma ye ba ko tumu penalty nyina enti adenti no obi mboka na obi nya ho fa so montete akɔhoma bɔ so na ahotɔmrɛ ɔman num yɛntete nneɛma bɔ so ɔman panyini yɛate lɔre fɛ so kane aka no na ɔnso ate so kakra na gyina hɔ yɛ dɛn yɛamfa nhyɛ no yɛde hyɛ dollar cedi rate ne boa dollar aba fam yɛde hyɛ driverfoɔ yɛate lɔre fɛ so nti kane ne da so gyina so ɛpɛ dɛn ɛne yɛte so ɛnyɛ yi ɛni nti fidie ne yɛsum mu no enti ne ebu ye be se woni sasabonsam
didi a boatere nyɛ tenten
yàrá yɛbɛda ase yɛtwɛn yɛahwɛ sɛdeɛ ɛbɛkɔ I hope sɛ mo agents no ani ɛda hɔ deɛ wɔn hwɛ biribiara fine wɔn polisifoɔ no nso a polisifoɔ no take strategic position bi minim deɛ ɛbaayɛ a all of a sudden wɔn akɔ take saa L shape no
Kofi
yɛn pɛkɛ post bi
maame nka asɛm wei ɔmo kaa wɔ yɛ kaa no mu a yɛate sɛ ɔmo toma general wie a yɛnim sɛ ebi abɔ ka ɛni nti ɔmo to wie yɛ ɔpa a fo ani di akyiri every region a ɔbɛto awie bi ɔbɛdwane akɔ ɛna aban nso ɛmpae na ɔmo aka sɛ mo nkɔto no foforɔ ti ha yie ɔmbɛkɔ ɔto wie a na ɔkɔ ɔte yɛ pɛ dɛ wusu a wayɛ no mɔbɔ ɔno wawie wode atwerɛ to wɔ sɛ wonya hu ɛno no a sɛ ɔmo to wie na ɔmo gya hɔ kɔ a na ɔhu sɛ asɛm no a yɛ abɛma bɛtena KOFI TV kaeɛ no ɛdɛm
sɛ general awene
na wei yɛnkɔ agyina ansa ne yɛbua
in fact deɛ atwam kɔ no ɛne ɛbɔ yɛtwe ho tententen kɔhwɛ ɛnyɛ deɛ ɛba enti wei deɛ ɛba enti waka yɛtwɛn ne yɛhwɛ deɛ bɛkɔ akɔsi
na yɛwie abɔyɛ nnwom no ma ɛneɛ nsɔre kɔɛ
modwom deɛ hɛ
anaa nɛ nso mommɔ ma mewa na awu driver ne ano mɛwa no kaka ku na ɛbɔɛ deɛ nti a na mobɔ saa nnwom no ma yɛ no ɛnkane no sɛ ɔba ɔkɔ akɔsua adwuma a ne madam koraa bɛtu no fo sɛ wobɛware a fa hyɛnkani anaa wobɛtwe mpena a fa hyɛnkani ɛbɔ du mmienu a Kofi na momɛto yɛkyɛw ba yɛkaa kii na ɛhyɛ nsa benkum yɛde kyerɛ akranteeti yɛde kyerɛ apɔnkye kotodwe yɛnyɛ no koraa a Kofi ɛnwa gu nkyɛn na kɔ bibia so na muhu ɛna ani berɛ ne ɔtan nti ma ɔsesa anwom no bɛyɛ ne driver bansa yɛkum nkurɔfoɔ mma na ne madam na atu no fo saa awie no na waka ka ho sɛ deɛ nti a ɔma no fotupa no wokɔfa radio presenter fans na ɔbɛma wɔ radio so boso me bɛ so hwee mam Kofi wei deɛ ndɛ ma sɛ mu business no fans ya na na mo mo abi amfiri hɔ ma ɛna ndɛ mo di ani brɛ ne ɔtan ayiri yɛya tutu yɛ bɔtɔm galamsey ya sɛ yɛ adwuma de mu yɛ ne yɛ fa strategy de nti na yɛ adwuma no ma bɛyɛ no yɛate lɔɔle frɛ ne so ɔba na sɛ wokuta envelope ana woduku te sɛ akuma amamazin bideɛ no a na ebu kɔn mu a yɛbɛgye ahyɛ buutu ade osika na sɛ nipa ne yɛte so yɛante nneɛma so
enti sɛ mo de kɔhyɛ nneɛma mu
wode woba abɛto yɛn wode woba moduku kɛseɛ
dabi Monday mo bɛte transport fare
yɛbɛte nipa sɛ nipa wodedie ne yɛdi yɛbɛte
basa wobɔ duku kura mo bɛkyagye
emu edu na ebu kɔn mu a sɛ woso kaa mu ahonso awo nneɛma ana ɔte kaa mu ahonso nneɛma eti sɛ duku no mu edu te sɛ akuma amazin bideɛ na ɛbɛhyɛ kaa buutu
ɔkyerɛ sɛ ɛhyɛ buutu wɔn nso ɔbɛtua
sɛ buutu o si ti ni hɔ ɔsɛ strategy papa
strategy but yɛbɛhwɛ deɛ ɛbɛkɔ but asɛm na ɔka no dɔkɔ wɔ mu sɛ ɛnam ɛne nti prices kɔ soro deɛ a saa bere yɛsɛ prices ɛba fam alright ma wo sɛ Buem constituency MP make some announcement bi ma mɛhwɛ sɛ yɛbɛtumi atie kakra a yɛmfa stage no so deɛ ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ hɔ no ebi ma kyerɛ sɛ na
center number 3 oh no sorry center number 5 northern region center number 5 I want to appreciate Yendi and Tatale who have voted and have left. A few who are still within the inner perimeter, if you have voted, please exit. The exit gate is directly behind me, so you can use it and get back to your seat or walk all the way to the main gate if you are ready to go, so you can go. Thank you. this one.
Alright, yeti na chese yeguswa coverage no abato no so far yesi yendi ene tatale fo ato awie enti eho no obi abehu no smoothness level ewo ho yendi tatale dan aka yendi tatale kra did I speak to yendi ne tatale fo video na ne ebo na yenwie aka kakra bi nipa me ne wo mokasa ye ena anopai no about the entia wo beto akọ which area no ma yemfa enwie tisi na mentensi delegates no monye we ni ready se me koye exit polls si a me koye yendi ni tatale fo na wo mato awie no wo moto ko he e be se ye some simple calculations bi ni ehuru ba bi a eko any kind of monko kasa kran sana wo me free park iso a wo mo afia ba yendi ni tatale de do here a wo be ko he yendi tatale a wo here wo be ko he
and the omo choice
but
Kofi, one thing I say very important, they say election beba became but say yeah the bitterness near kika same fire one we cannot unite they can okay mama can day because me I'm not one of them they cannot unite until after all no so mo say omo agenda but I be see omo ni so yes ye se wo kokun so a pre won koku enkopra okusi ho what you say it way just internal enti internal no na se mo amoye mu fi a mo nsem amuka no ya no so yensu yetie o yenye ya no yensu yetie ye bebo amamo 2024 enti munya motre na bibia anye boko na omuyo bibia so dwem na se na the bigger battle no 2024
2024 ebe big on
it will be some election ebe say 2008 then
2008 Kayame Kakra.
So far elections are Yaya Ghana in the most competitive election was the 2008 election.
Okay.
2012 Mahama we need clear Riem Biama 2020 Nanansu we need clear Ubien Riem and okra omo akra be confirm say Ubien Riem na say omo akra ba be confirm. So the most competitive election ever by 2020 to 2024.
Very competitive.
Yeah.
All right, then ma yemfa continuation of enkoma many delegates ni bidi ene anopay abra na ebi landed from omo regions. Yemfa this final party na memko delegates ni baby a wo moti sesia ene ebi enkonkodi enkomo. De odu da so e wo ha ye wie ye kopem se ebebo aba na wie ne ehunu de ware ne ne aye ye final 1-2 e wo ho no one ye na eguso e wo ha ye ma o coverage no se utien e wo tuning e wo Kofi radio so ye da se wa join sanso na o hwen e wo YouTube ana Facebook ana any of your platforms no so KOFI TV ana KOFI radio so and so ye da se wakan ye ho ti yenkon kofa continuation of interview me ye no anope
KOFI TV KOFI TV KOFI TV
but for the MP for Muslim
but see no many ebi more kasa no almost say the style of campaign ebi so say the audio bi aba bonten and all that more support no delegates more you enim some beto amano no how are you taking sa information is it something abedu enim
well so na no nkofo keka no nipa bebere obi kura yam from so chance and kan o kana ya fiansa one person ba kasa sa na aya how ena o kana na no kofum ye ena o kasa asam no to kasa ya te se bibia aye bona na aye se before kura mo chan o mo kasa bi kura chance o mo tumi fam pesa o mo fa ye le asa na o kana ani kwa se bia wakasa na bia yam to aba no fama no Yes, I did. That's I do from Sona Pesa de Party. To Sadia, me who's a beer, I have bonus. Memo holiday. Me who's a beer or your phone so. Lay no because we are part of no. In 1% or this as I as a both no Masano Manaya, appear bunting to a kind of delegate in Nibian or Casabia Sassan or Cano. Young to a bump for Mano.
All right, let us.
Live as it happens. KOFI TV. KOFI Radio. Radio for the Ghanaian and for the Ghanaian abroad. KOFI TV.
All right.
No doubt for him.
Nti abusuafo yeguso a ye koso. Me na empombo ko de.
Dame to go for Kofi.
Be on microphone no ma.
No for Kofi.
Ye fo say.
The from Kofi Buyaben.
Kofi
Buyaben.
Buaben na. Buaben. Na ada na Buaben.
Buyaben. B-U-A-B-E-N-G. Buyaben.
Okay, Buaben ko na Buaben so.
O say obi o ha. Obena Jesus Panu B-O-A. Bua. B-E-N-G.
Okay.
Buaben. When you Buaben B-U-A-B-E-N-G. Buyaben. Ikina Kasa Spanish.
Okay.
Buyaben.
Na ono free where is I saying?
Wait. Attempts no I na asusi say. Na no we no lie na me di bo we. Mi hwa mi hu. Yes am tembe yiri dia na me de bo. Tembe yiri dia na me de bo.
What's up? We are there when this amanyuko no.
Many NDC adjust. National adjust. Me na be dress man this fi 30 years.
Okay. 30 years. And what dress? Okay. Be microphone ma me kakra. What dress for party no for how many years?
In 30
years.
Sir.
Say ya na address.
Say ya na me dress. To be am dress kura me first say. Na
anti where fe no no.
The baba odi ani baji na ese wo ye. Ni audience ani baji no, audience ani baji no. Ana so ye ma wo mu.
Okay.
Ututu kente bejina bo awo yansere. Ama anya de. So
okay.
Eti mu pa e ka trato agoso kra ni empia wo. Na ye de. Ase so betra pombo e.
Oh okay. Entunya ya nka omu nyina mo ba mo tra truck so.
Nya so mu na tra truck so. Me my time na me kire nya wo mu.
Oh okay. Enti we no eye de na so no.
We.
Aye
abe and my petty NDC kala di egu.
Okay.
Ana so mi. Na me dia ashansu na obi ahu say. Oh, asimasi na obenti. Party ni no ba me ho ministry sa. Sa da bia sa be we na hye. It is waka ese mi jimi. Mi hye we no ochema ko hye we. Mi hye we no ochema ko hye we a. Uko introduce mu kire obi a. Ohun say wo na obenti na asimasi a. Dada bia no na hye me.
Enti we eye wa identity be ma o party ne ba power obo hu say na aka wo ho.
Oh, eba power. Embo wo mu ni bisa me ka.
Oh okay. Ena mo dressing into obi hu.
Wo fo bo so bo fo sekete mu no bia ni me. Sekete ewure mu no. Amodi mi wure mu because say mu be ya din a. Ka me mra office ma gi pipa. Omo say mu nya di. Afa me bo mu so mu ma me ba.
Hey.
Ana omo di we small bi ba say aja so abonti dia mu fa ma no mra inside. Adeti o we inside no pie. O ba mu se mba na to kwesi ke prosecute. Anu ti mai de ba bo mu dendende. Na ri ba mo mu dendende a me aja se dem fa ho ben. I first say Oko Bank. Let's say accountant for Edmond Boka. What you that boy to account?
David.
Na be dem fa ho ben.
Na enti de so emunya du.
Emu tradition man den. Ma je pa dem for SMS one.
Won na mo say o ti o crowd so ne ma.
We say me so ne ma papa. Bedi ka say ye for obi 20 dia ma ndi se nwini ma ko ne atwabiti. Eti asumi no problem. Owo pa mi suro na ade e be so.
Enti rig ne wan dia.
Rig no. Acha ni wura kulewu
wig na ehye no de ne de awu
de awu da chakura anya nasem
we
na me hwe ni ye nti na da so
oh okay ti we kwa wu yigu dem na ade gwen
we mu adaka ogun omgun eti fie na fie nu ni opposition ni akọ ba bia no ohome
okay
na tamba so ni baba power ni yi na bia monte
okay ti we yiwe bia na kese mu baba power
ya wie power dey see akwa wie na wana see e better opposition MPP better opposition pa and G26 who want better the mama mbra so chi 5000 ye di na watch and they want to book moli echi anasa we ya membu ko ikrache omo sense omo na na nka for wo de oto obeka me kamechiro abo me nyo bi ko opposition wo be sira na theater the mama nya 1 million bi ti the mama ya mu de o the mama to me to o be 2.5 million ko da wo aduma fasa bi so tenka
2.5 million
ka chiro o ti o mu papa na se papa ti na gwa bi egu kanu mutimi ka gu na bi egu ye egu ma bro so MPP what me say MPP egu ma bro so me sro say make
ma shada jeje se me hu se obeka se wa bre okọ yi niam ya asibo se la da so so won kan se wa
dabi me mbre ba kokra we m kodi di na ma mu TV frame kodi di wa sia wo ja ka mu TV frame
nti wudi di nyina na ehwe
na sia me
udidi a woso sa niam yi
me ka chiro Kofi yesa tro na mi bi asampa na me ka ucha kontompoda
sunsun bi wo mana
sunsun bi ani
also wafade no
bi anu na di ahode ni ma me na chasa se ani jamanya o wi do e kom de me ni sika mi hu bi
okay
me bra asan be di na so se ana ya start congress ama manya ni jebi o me mu ora bi o mu se ya ba pamo mo makọ ya ba ta ba nwa no so no mu se be ka de wa je se ya se to nya ni fra so ma
Kofi bu abusa ya Kofi bu aben woso niema ho ene wote ho enti mpanimfo bu sa aben no ana ye nokre se edempo ote konwa so kra na so niema
utiri nya na utiri ma na so niema
se wa waka enti utiri na enye ntira
mi ti dia ya na echa sa dia ma me wi oni se me pe me party kunim
okay
na me yeso a mo re bi o me mu se ade ni be ya maye me come chira 28 ye himas wey legon so ba bi 207 me se kukwai o legon ba television so adun fo be try ni ade saturday se na wa do ba television so ye ni because for example for say jiska koto ni ma gu dem jiska na ko yese wa bra na bibi oni pa bra na dia na ko no nye Kofi bo a
okay
ya mi ye me mo dam me say ye mo yiri wo ma wo majuma ye na so me pa gro ni tia se me so atene o pa gra o be so atene tia se me so atene anu nya bo
enti o dress ye o yiri hu wansa na obi
me yiri dia ma dress da me ba dress wa ha o bi se da se bo Kofi afuka ye dressing be ye juba
na ge se onim se unya foka se o ba party program South Belgium na ya yiri dia
ni dia dosu ba kura ti na mi fa ba ko je ewura me de kokko ye juma eye ya bedi
wa fa ne yiri Brazil ena ode abetena ha ena ode ye campaign ama ne party se sei o ma mi enu na ye chairman ama o ni pa mi enu hu na ye chairman ama o
mosquito ni asi
mosquito ni
o mi enu ni nyina ne eye o mi enu mitimi ni obi mfiri so me me politician papa me di party achi fie duasa woni me TFM station I me di kom ma I so careful o mi enu no me ta obi no you be win bia e good
okay
you be lose so no obe duma onko sa
ujidi
yes and this dey yan kabom yan te say ya no me na me ti say me na me ya santi me yes da bi ye de wo ye if my friend kura ba na we are the be chairman ye man ha edu president kura do be yo Baby, dear, why not me? Yes, Antina, when you're president. Because you have Matthew is a Sebu, a Bibina Casa from Susia. Who want this? A do say, where advisor? Council by president. When this, you are passing for president. But Yamu dear, tell a vice, yet to a bet Yamu or Yariu. Alu Mama, you took an answer. But what? It's Papa is our advice for MP and now we have business. Why I can't own you?
Yanum, yes, Anna Motier.
Kofi, the same way there, unintellectual argument, so I don't want to get involved.
No, but I say, one more than the Antissa.
Dabi, that idea.
I'm more than Antissa. And I heard your name.
More than Antissa.
Said they,
more than the Mupa.
One year, your coalition, your 9 point election. I competitive. If you come on, so I know when you.
When was all right. My men are offered their entry in common also. What did you say?
Me, 62.
62 years.
Yes.
Hey,
me no son. Me no is great.
Okay.
Me no we. Me papa ni kura wa de child.
Hey,
bet me to abroad. Me to be so cement. Bet me as we sam. Bet me to foundation.
hey,
Me hold the papa. Me na mo. Me na tie me say mo be 30 years.
62 years.
I'm telling you, me no son. Me na se kwa me numbi. More to me numbi. Me dey near aduane ni suo ni adu asa. So me no pia ocha. Man ma me no dey chef free.
Okay.
Dey chef free no ha me sa ordinary water.
Okay.
It ma call about ko. Okwa UK, we doctor. Me say that more than batu kolebu. Me nyare on film na me hwe. O hwe o se akrabu abia me siye o se wo, wan koku neta de be kesa. Uniam nyama nyina fresh.
Yam nyama nyina
fresh. Apetete mumuda. Duka mumuda, selfo mumuda. Bia mumuda, Guinness mumuda. Tot bia mumuda. Na me nyama nyama fresh. Because
adwuma yɛ so nkwa change gym be anywhere change there so we are what the name is rather na on your fit
and say the fit onipa e o mu say nkra bia wu ho o hwe ho si ya otimi che so o hwe ho si ya otimi che obi timi nya be 30 years 40 years na wo obi timi no mo sa 32 no awu kwala wu mi semo ya wo magumi na so mo bebre eso stay me sorry a anwode ho pa dem pese me bia mitimi ye ase anya say years nkra na me wo.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I know the pedestrians are so.
Okay.
One person young quatentia. I saw you are bravo ye. I know Cassa ye. I know ni ye. But video you have to Amafa. Where you say, my father, we was me. Say, what you was mate. Say, it is a winter years.
Apart from Onyema, so we and can name is Onyema and Yama Kuntai. I would dear so I would know. We are my bang.
Now, may repair, change some. Machines.
Okay.
And the friends say generator. And the pumping machine. Now, down where you man as say it pumping machine and baby. And the generator to Jariba, you know. What the light complain in our say. It might be until generator bill. It's a no so. Chase also. Oko to the ani echo. Answer by say mammy and motor number repair. Motor. You see what my fear. Me see any na eti de anya no ma ye film line mu ana me repair motor say say motor bu mu aduma na me ye to ba dan obo dan
hey
eti fi adum la obo dan yo so hwa mi a ba bia be oba FM station wa ba ho no na chi say Kumasi station wo so hwa adjust NDC adjust or repair motor bu obi aba chiro no me are popular or there people for club or there people for club take aka na yan DC for no you are popular ho
enye den to be say we NDC out say mo ye minority mo sha ho no enye difficult to be antata o
boda eh na kro no fa ya gura for kra dia ko mo ta be me den obi azuro mi na che yesi kokoto nya kokosin me ti achim da bo ntie me osim ya ndisi na be me ejimu kra jabra wa kasa kwa ho no be
enti we would do get na security cars o mo from man ka be there
o mo so mama mi ngro na ko ji pipa ba mi pipa ni mama mi ngro
o kura paper but me ka say niema na eson no Omo ka so mo wan fa nwura mu abaya den.
Omo se onko Cape Coast no. Entoko kosi ho. Etiama skiti na no ye de pa. Etibika chi omo se mo ma me nko ade da eyi na kura mu na mo de fifa ye ho no. Se bibi shi omo fafa me ho. Ombo fa mi si abotin. Omo se krachi ko be. Ya pe kasa bi ya ko be.
Anti o man fa we na mfa ho.
Dabi omo se ko be. Bidu e mo omo se ko be.
Na sa we gina emu mo de.
Emu mo.
Wa spray mu ana sa wa.
Basi.
Usi.
Ah, masi ha ta makofi mu awu fine. Ahia mi mu hwehwehwam.
But men dia na ma obo brazier no o penofo ana.
We say
O penofo.
me penofo. Ani say I come apalatos no.
Okay.
Dia ti ma me yes ade wi me kire wase en.
Kire me.
Na mi su adwuma no. Me master. Ma na me di generator ne by concept 490.
Okay.
Na ti 77 78 su adwuma.
Hey.
Eti stibus ba odan. Na ma so generator ti ma me adofo 90.
Okay.
Ya nanti ya bi akoba ne me ba adwuma. Osimo be on be contract kana be family ade me ko. Sa da ku akobo first say wasa daboase. Yakobo na de o ele di ata oba no. Isate de mama na the stage oba. No yare. Ono mo say generator wa hwe so repala. Wo be ka bo party am say anu abo. Bi see purpose be ka me ko say. Eh. Let us anya some kidwa. Me say you know me call be 5 times no. Me am to adofo.
Hey. Adofo nyom de.
Me catch now.
Ma me ba kom.
And here Kofi anya gi. So, eti aba say ya bati political parties na be say me say apalotos. Na je say minim yo dada. Eti metimi address ayatofo ay bibia dia na anti correct. Ah, wo a wunye bi da say ya wutimi no.
Okay.
Ani mani yakobi say na egufo.
Ti wa na address wo.
Me am addressing me. Me addressing wo Independence Square ya.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ti address wo hansa na waba.
Maba, me ni address me address correct.
Nti on tade ankasa wo yin.
Me tade ye ni nyina ahya me ho.
Hey. Ena da ya tofo no.
Eti say me si abontia. Na me si me agu mani mu a. Wo be hu na me de ma address fine, ba na me de magu bag. Na gu polity bag. Me de bag papa e ba me de ama. Ti me polity na bag. Rubber bag na me de bag.
Ewusa for sa fe no akan ho a. Ye wo NDC amanyoko no. Wo mo National Democratic Congress, wo mo Congress ase. And ye didi ye ho enkomo. Na ye hu no pani ba ko a wa address sa the last time interview am here eno many and why yes 30 years.
30 years.
Eja Kofi boya beng ya da se pa but unfortunately we say on trap on your delegate on trap ani.
Oh, and the sec ka me to play the battle na attempts me kwaye 2040 2009 me se buy no.
Okay.
Ya to aba me kwa propaganda secretary. It na certain any communication ya ka propaganda. Me kwaye ya no na me time nya campaign. So,
okay.
It work ya gwa come say family ni. Bili mu ma menyi ni ababy. But me to aba say ni ma be ya ni je be ba me time nya.
Okay.
So mo ba ti asesa me de no say o mo di.
Okay. Okay. But mama you say o dress say ya o ma no o mbufu.
Why ni bufu?
O ma no.
Ah, ni wa ba wa nyiri kura ni bufu ayere. E ba no ban. Won nim say o ba to isa me yo. Won nyiri ba to isa me yo. No wa simo be kan. O ti me ka dem 2022 to from. On ko from Ajas. Obi afre ma Ajas, me ye from Ajas. Do bu cha foi na. Me di ku ya be no e body bi. O ri hwa me o. Me just aka sa Ajas.
Okay.
En family. Me mani ko si amatu tro bi eji. E ti nya di aka e be ya. Wo je be bi ka enya mi hu. Ti o ka oni pa so. O ka sam na ni ya, e na da bi o mu ka. Na nya ya obi aka bi. Anambwa.
Okay.
Obi aka bi.
Me ma adwuma betumi de we na sa.
Yeah.
O atofo no betumi de asa.
O ko fi
Ona ke sa wo de no mfansa. Wo de nante keke.
o na sek.
O se.
Ai. Me sa. Na battalion.
Na de.
Be ko tell.
E be ko.
Television. Ya ja.
na me hwese bia o de sa ana se o de ne de o de dress keke ka me mauja jama pa na o de asama ma enko enko yada se pa eja boaben yada se pa o afutuo bi de ma party ma no o afutuo bi a o de be ma eye party ma no NDC for
yan NDC for yan ye futuo de anya den
okay
so uti ye for mra ne yaso ati me wani sini bia yakoto aba ye tia na wakoto pada ye bu ya nya hwe ye be saka bom ni atu yatamfu ni aba mu no ma na ya de akosa ya de yanko
sa sem we o kan do o ba saka
o se
bisanso in français c'est sien wana
o bi sa question
on in français c'est sien
o se
parce que in français c'est sien
wana
français c'est sien
wana français c'est ça ba no yakoto ko fo di ame o tie yakoto ko fo di ame o obi afani sa karo ya to ba pa ma tio ama ba nyodo ya to ba ma no ya tusu na se umo organizer na mo fo bia sabre no ani yi ko breje aye chairman so sabre yi ko breje aye chairman na mo fo bia ho and mo to aba no so se bia fa za kano but the question is no ni umo organizer na ni ya bia no mo anya no ana ma party for ni jazz akofa be nyodo to ba for when now you say obi dey sabade ebe kekan anu dimri ka goja boti ba mu dan na mu yam demi ba mu dan so bia say me becoming yourself from 285 obi afanisa ka francis here aso se that dia propaganda ko dia bifuochi say NDC for agony NDC di bia afanisa ka francis here ene na me ka kire NDC di bia afanisa ka na mo ko fo bia bi me